In 3.1, we're going to start talking about lines and angles. We're going to focus on lines and angles. So the learning target for this section here is I can name different types of lines and I can name different types of angles. There's going to be several different types of lines and angles throughout this section. So the majority of this is just going to be vocab. So the first one is parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never intersect and are going in the same direction. The symbol for parallel lines are actually straight up and down. So the symbol would be two lines next to each other that are straight up and down. So for example, I could say line AB, and if I wanted to say that it was parallel to line DC, then what you would do is you would put this symbol right in between them. So line AB is parallel to line DC. Skew lines are lines that never intersect and are going in different directions. So they're not parallel, but these two lines, they never intersect, and they will be going in different directions. So I'll show you what I mean by skew lines on the picture on the next slide. Parallel planes are planes that do not intersect. And that could be, for example, like if you think of a box, or if you think of the classroom of a room, the ceiling could be a plane, the floor could be a plane. Those two planes go on forever and they never intersect with each other. Perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect to form a right angle. The symbol for perpendicular lines is just this upside down T. So again, I could say line AB, and this time it's going to be perpendicular to line WX. So that means that those two lines would somehow intersect to form a 90-degree angle. So think of each segment in the figure as part of a line. Which line or plane appear to fit the description? So lines parallel to ED and containing point C. So parallel to ED, this is ED down here on the bottom, but it also has to contain point C. So parallel to ED would be this line back here on the back of the box. G has to contain point C, so it would have to be GC. That one back there is parallel to ED and it contains point C. Now a line that is skew to ED, here's where I wanted to talk about skew. So ED is down here in the bottom corner. Now I need to find a line that does not intersect ED and it goes in a different direction. So like FH goes in the same direction. That would be parallel. AB goes in the same direction. That would be parallel. But now let's take this segment that's going up and down back here. AG. That segment back there, it's going in a different direction than ED, and it will never intersect ED. Those are called skew lines. So skew to ED could be AG, or maybe BC, or maybe HB, or maybe FA. All of those different segments there, all of those different lines are skew to ED. So lines that are perpendicular to ED, there's 2, 3, 4 of them here. So I could say FE, HD, CD, or GE. All of those are perpendicular to ED. So let's go with HD. And that's because they intersect to form a 90-degree angle. Planes parallel to plane ABH. So ABH would be the top of the box. Parallel to ABH would be the bottom of the box. So we could say plane GCD. So what happens when you have a bunch of lines that are intersecting? We create all kinds of different types of angles. So when we have lines that are intersecting, we create all kinds of angles here. And that's what we're going to focus on next. We're going to focus on what are these angles called. Now, these angles that are formed can be, they have special names. Keep in mind, they don't have to be formed by two parallel lines. These two lines right here do not have to be parallel. So they could be any types of lines. So what is a transversal? First off, a transversal is the line that intersects two or more coplanar lines. So this line right here is called the transversal. The transversal is the line that intersects the other two or more coplanar lines. This one here, that is called the transversal. And that's because it's the line that intersects two or more coplanar lines. Now let's start identifying some of these angles. Now these angles have special names whether the two lines are parallel or not. So in my pictures, these two lines are parallel, but they do not have to be parallel. All right, so here's our two lines cut by the transversal, the corresponding angles. The corresponding angles are the ones that have similar positions in each group. So if I was to take this group and put it right on top of this group of angles, the ones that are in similar positions are corresponding angles. So a similar position to this angle right here would be this angle right here. Those two angles are corresponding. Similar to, let's label this with a 1. Similar to that one would be this one right up here. Those are corresponding. I'll put a 2 down there, a 2 right there, and a 3 and a 3. So all of those angles are corresponding with each other. Those, when they match up right on top of each other like that, they are called corresponding. Alternate interior angles. Interior angles means that they're going to be between the two lines. So go between the two lines. We have an angle 1 and an angle 1. We have an angle 2 and an angle 2. I should probably do 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, in between the two lines, they're going to be on opposite sides of the transversal. So it's going to alternate sides of the transversal. So alternate interior angles would be, for example, angle 1 and angle 3. Those two are alternate interior angles because they are in between the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. And then you can also say that angle 2 and angle 4 are alternate interior angles. Again, because they are in between the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Now these are going to be on the outside of the two lines. So outside of the two lines we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So outside the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 1 is outside, and then on opposite side of the transversal would be angle 3. So angle 1 and angle 3. And then you could also identify angle 2 and 4. They're outside of the two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. And then consecutive interior angles, also known as same side interior angles. Those are going to be two angles that are created that are inside of the two lines and on the same side of the transversal. So go inside the two lines and on the same side of the transversal. So inside the two lines, we have these 4 angles right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they have to be on the same side of the transversal. So angle 1 and angle 2 are on the same side and in between the two lines. So these two angles are called consecutive angles or same side interior. And then angle 4 and angle 3 can also be called consecutive angles because they're on the same side and they're also in between the two lines. All right, if I wanted to identify the alternate interior angles. So interior means they're going to be on the inside of the two transversals. Excuse me, inside of the two lines. So here's our two lines. Inside we have 4, 3, 5, and 6. So alternate means they're going to be on opposite sides of the transversal. So angle 4 and angle 6. Then we also have angle 3 and angle 5. Alternate exterior. They're going to be on opposite sides of the transversal, but they have to be on the outside. So we have 7 and 8, 1 and 2. So angle 1 The other side of the transversal from angle 1 would be angle 6. And then 5, excuse me, let me fix that because they have to be exterior angles. So that would be angle 7. And then angle 2 and angle 8. Corresponding. So corresponding means that if I chop this right here and I take these and put them on top of these, it's the angles that match up. So angle 5 and angle 1, angle 8 and angle 4, angle 7 and angle 3, angle 6 and angle 2. And then same side interior. That would be, they have to be in between the two lines and they have to be on the same side of the transversal. So angle 4 and angle 5. Those two are same side interior, as well as 3 and 6 are same side interior. All right, so we've covered alternate interior angles, we've covered alternate exterior angles, same side interior, corresponding angles. And that pretty much completes everything that for this section. It's a lot of vocab and understanding, what is parallel, skew, perpendicular, and then those 4 different types of angles.